Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to the Petal Place property located in the countryside of northeastern Ontario, Canada. Welcome back to my kitchen, guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you've never been here before, my name is Peaches, and this is a country channel where I show how we live in the countryside and some of the things we do in the countryside. Right now, we had a trip. We went to Jamaica for my mom's homegoing, and we are back. And when we came back and I went into the garden, there were so many tomatoes. There was a tomato explosion. And so I have frozen some of the tomatoes. Those I will deal with later. And these ones I am making into something special for my family and myself. And so I have peeled the tomatoes, and I must tell you, this is my biggest tomato harvest ever, right? So this was my first time really peeling tomatoes, because generally the cherry tomatoes that I get, I basically preserve them with the peels on. And so I'm chopping these babies. These are very meaty. I think these meaty tomatoes are first choice, or no, patio choice tomatoes. I think it is patio choice, PATIO choice tomatoes. I was pretty pleased with the harvest. Now I'm using a recipe from my book here, which is the Encyclopedia of Homemade Preserves. So yeah, the recipe that I am doing is the tomato marmalade. I'm supposed to have 4 pounds of tomatoes. I think I have more than 4 pounds of tomatoes. So see, as I cut, the tomato water is coming out. So I'm just putting the meat or the flesh of the tomato in the colander so it can drain, right? Because the recipe actually calls for 1 1/4 cups of water, and I'm not going to be using water. I'm just going to be using the tomato water. Wow, I am very happy with these tomatoes. Now this tomato is a bit green. I do have some other green ones that I think I'm going to turn into some marmalade too. These are mostly ripe. I'm thinking that it would be nice to use the green ones to do a marmalade. So I'm going to do that. Apart from that, I have a lot of tomatoes in the freezer that I'm going to be turning into a simple sauce. And then I can always use the simple sauce to make other sauces during the winter. Now I'm not big time canner, guys. I didn't grow up canning. The most we did when I grew up was like we get pepper and carrots and put some pimento and some onions in the jar and preserve peppers. But we didn't grow up canning so much of these type of different stuff, right? So I'm not gonna pretend to be a big time canner, but I have really taken a liking to it, and so I am learning and I am doing, and it's even for me an easier thing for me to do in the countryside, because now I plant a bigger garden and I want to preserve stuff more than just put it in the fridge or the freezer, because I can't fit and keep everything in the fridge and the freezer. Right now I had to rejig some stuff in there to make space for my tomatoes that I have put in there. I think some of my tomatoes got a little overcooked during the peeling process, but that's okay. I think it's gonna be a good marmalade. I've always wanted to make a marmalade, and I was thinking I would do like citrus marmalade, but I've never done it because so far I haven't been able to source organic citrus. And when I say organic citrus, I'm talking about citrus that have not been sprayed with chemicals. Because 23, almost 23, 2000 and, well, almost 22, 2003, I lost my left kidney to kidney cancer, and since then I've been trying to eat differently. And so yeah, that's why you hear me talking about organic. Whatever I can afford to eat organic, I do. You can't afford to eat everything, so you do your best. But that's life, right? You do your best. The most important thing is to know that you have done your best, and there's nothing else left to do. Not that you know of, or that I know of. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna chop the tomatoes, and then I'm gonna leave them. I'm just coarsely chopping them. I'm gonna leave them to drain, and I'm gonna clean my bottles, because I've already cleaned the bottles. They're supposed to be clean, but I'm just gonna rinse them out and put them to drain. Didn't fully get the peel off that one. Now, if you just happened into the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Give me that support. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your support on the channel. As I was saying earlier, I'm an avid canner. I like to can, but I did not grow up canning. I've been doing it for a few years now since we moved to the countryside. But I am learning, I'm growing, so come along. Learn with me, grow with me. Let's grow together in the kitchen and in the garden. Yeah, it's a lot of tomato water that's coming out. Yeah. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna think I'm going to put any more in this. I'm going to start putting it in this. This already has some tomato water previously. So I'm going to pour it out. Okay, now let's see what's going on here. Yeah, that's a lot. And pour this out too. This is what the tomato water looks like. It's good stuff. I think I'm gonna also bottle the tomato water. Okay, let's leave that there too. To drain. Look at the cover. And then I'm just gonna stick this on top to cover it. The rest of the tomato I'll put in here. And then it will be able to drain through. And believe me guys, I still have tomatoes on the vine outside. I'm gonna let them run through this week. Maybe by the end of the week I will reap them, because we are getting pretty much into October now, and we've had frost warnings. As a matter of fact, I think that while I was in Jamaica, we did have some very low temps, and I could see it in some of the tomatoes where it looks like they were frozen at one point. But yeah, this is it. This is generally where the tomato water comes from, where the seed is. Right, that in that area, right around the core where the flesh is. I guess some people throw their tomato water out, but I think a good thing to do is to use your tomato water just like you would broth if you're cooking certain dishes. Just gonna add a little salt and some lemon to the tomato water when I am putting it in jars. Just to make sure of the acidity level, because if your produce is not acid enough, it can go bad if you just water can them. So it's better to be safe than sorry. My recipe calls for 4 pounds of tomato. I haven't weighed it, but I'm thinking that I have at least 8 pounds of tomatoes. Check out this big one. So this is where most of the water would come from. Around this area. But this obviously is a good tomato, a good eating tomato, or even a preserving tomato, because you don't have to deal with so much water. Patio choice tomato. I'm thinking that I bought the seeds from Home Hardware. That's what I am thinking. I'm gonna go ahead and juice and strain off the tomato water. And these are the peels that I got from the tomatoes. More tomato water. Okay. So there. I am going to try it. I am going to try to dehydrate these and use them for tomato powder. Yeah, I'm going to try to do that. So what I'm going to do right now is cover it outside with a netting in the sun and let it at least start drying out there before I stick it in the dehydrator, because I have a little dehydrator that it's going to take forever if I just stick it in there like that. So yeah, I'm going to take these outside. I'll be right back. Now I'm done that, guys. Check this out. There is so much tomato water in here. But another ingredient for the marmalade is lemon. I'm just wondering if I think I need more lemon. They're in the freezer here, so they are frozen. I get 3 more lemons. Get 3 more lemons. I took these out before, so they have thawed. But I think what I'm gonna do is just gonna run hot water on these. See if I can get them to soften up at least a little bit. Okay. May as well try to use my scissor and just cut it across. That's easier. Okay. That's it. Now, slice this one too. Just gonna rest this over here. It's one thing I'm gonna have to remind my husband to do for me. Sharpen my knives. Whenever I buy lemons, instead of using some and allowing the others to go bad, I freeze them. So these have been in the fridge for a few months. I would suppose that for something like this, making marmalade, you can actually be liberal with your lemon, or you can be less liberal with your sugar. And I prefer to be liberal with my lemon. I want to make sure that the acidity level is up there so that it preserves well. And sugar preserves things too, but I prefer to preserve stuff with lemon than sugar. Mark, I'm going to use sugar, but I don't want to use too much sugar. These are the ones I just took out of the freezer. Taking out the seeds. I have decided to weigh the tomatoes that I'm working with. So that's 3 pounds. Okay, let's get it a little more balanced. Yeah, there we go. That's about 3 pounds. I'm gonna see if I can get it up to 4 pounds. Woo! That's almost 4.5 pounds. Let's take out the extra. £4. So my recipe is for 4 pounds. I think I may have about 12 pounds here. So let's weigh the rest. Okay, that's another 4 pounds. That's 8 pounds. £12. This is 1.25 pounds. So I was right, about 12 pounds. It's 13. Let's call it 13 pounds. 13 pounds. I'm gonna wash it now. And turn this burner back off. And and get some liquid in here before I turn it on. So that's 3 3/4 cup of water. Okay. And a half, 3 3/4 right here. So let me go ahead and measure out some tomato water. Oh, I turned it off, but still making sounds. Yeah, there we go. 3 3/4 cups of water. Okay, settle yourself, man. I'm going to turn this on. Come on, what's your problem? You're not lighting. I'm going to get my wooden spoon. Cover this because I am going to can this tomato water. I am just going to put a little salt in my carrots. Okay, so now I need 6 cups of sugar. And I am going to use 4 cups of brown sugar and 2 cups of granulated sugar. That's 2. Now we gotta get 4 cups of this brown sugar. This is a half a cup, so let's just do 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 cups of sugar, guys. That's half. 4, 5, 6. 6 cups of sugar. That's a half of what I'm supposed to use. I'm supposed to use 12 cups of sugar. But I don't think it's absolutely necessary. Now I am supposed to stir this. And I'm supposed to let it dissolve. And after it's finished dissolving, I think I'm supposed to add, okay, my pot is not very thick at the bottom, so gotta make sure I stir it so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot. I bought, or my son bought me a pressure canner. That pot is pretty thick, but I haven't used it yet, so I haven't even washed it out yet. But you guys are gonna see me use it pretty soon. Okay, so now that the contents of the pot has come to a roaring boil, I'm going to let it boil for 6 minutes. And I'm just going to use the timer on my stove here. Okay. Then I'm going to add the tomatoes. I'm going to use this slotted spoon to do it. the lemons are supposed to go in now too. I have used six lemons. Stir. Okay, so it does say to bring to a boil, but it didn't say I should increase the heat. I'm just supposed to lower the heat and add the tomatoes and lemons. And then bring back to a boil. So I let it go ahead, come to a boil, and after it comes to a boil, then boil for 30 to tomato stem. Yeah. After it comes to a boil, then I will boil for 30 to 40 minutes until thickened. Yeah, so we are on the last lap. So I'm just gonna go ahead, let it come to a boil, and then after that I'll set the timer. In the meantime, I'm gonna turn the burner off under my carrots and beets, and I'm gonna wash these. It is boiling now, so I'm gonna put the timer for 40 minutes. That's timer 0 start. Okay, there we go. Ay, that's it. I am gonna go ahead . There's a fly that's messing with me in here. Okay, he's over there somewhere, so let me go ahead and do what I'm doing. don't expect that any one of these should be chipped or cracked because I just took them out of the box. Yeah. Gonna move these out for now because I gotta get dinner ready. So we just finished pulling 15 jars of marmalade from the pot and 7 half-pint jars of tomato water. Well, it was a fruitful time in the kitchen today, and yeah, I prepared dinner, which was jerk chicken in the air fryer, mashed potatoes, beet and carrot and some broccoli and cauliflower. Dinner was good, guys. Yeah, it was good. And I'm so happy with all my marmalade that I have. And it is the first time I've ever noticed that so much water leaches out of tomatoes. But yeah, I bottle them too because the intention is to use them in the place of broth. And so yeah, I'm getting on with my canning, guys. I'm getting on. Thank you so much for being here. You have yourself a wonderful week, and I will see you again soon. Walk good now.